And it's so good. It's so good to have the opportunity to be in spiritual community. Our theme this month is awareness. And I said I always talk directly to the young people on Youth Sunday. You know, awareness is about noticing. It's about paying attention. But there's something interesting about awareness, because there's a certain way in which the awareness is about the things that are right around us and in front of us that we just really hadn't really noticed that much before. So part of it is about not getting so stuck on what we see. More and more now we have our little devices, and we're looking at our little devices and we're tuning everything else out that's all around us. You know, we're not even aware of the people who are next to us. We're not aware of other things that are going on all over the place. So part of what awareness is about is not letting your attention get so riveted, so stuck just on what's in front of you that you fail to see what is around you. There can be people in the room who need your help. Maybe your mom's coming in the door with a bunch of groceries and you're looking at this and you can't even see that you need some help. Or maybe there's some new kid at school and you're busy with your regular friends all the time that you aren't even aware of the fact that there's somebody new who's by themselves, who hasn't had anybody to talk to or to get involved with. And part of the reason why I'm saying this is that I believe that part of what awareness does is it means that we have to do something. I know as a kid, I would pretend that there were many things that I didn't see. Like the dirty dishes, or my messy room, or some other thing that I hadn't taken care of. Because if I wasn't aware of it, you can't hold me accountable. I can't be responsible for doing something that I wasn't aware of. Now, you know I'm only talking to the kids. But we have this way sometimes of conveniently just not seeing and just not noticing, because then that gives us a free pass, that I don't have to take action, or that I don't have to do something. But what awareness does is that once we begin to really notice, we can't act like we don't see what we see. And once we really begin to notice, then it means that it compels us to have to do something. So that's one part of awareness, is that there's things that we see more, and then when we see more, we develop a relationship with it, and it calls us up to do something. Okay, that's part of awareness. There's another part of awareness from a spiritual standpoint that's even a little different than that, where we can become aware of things that we don't see. Awareness isn't just about what's in front of us, but there's an inner knower, and there's a way that we can know things just because something inside of us tells us. Okay. So let's say, for example, you've gotten in an argument with a friend, or you've gotten in an argument with your brother or sister or somebody that you know. And there's a way sometimes when we're in that argument, boy, we think we're right. We really think we're right. And we really think they're wrong. And we're just hoping that they see the light about how right we are. And then there's something that can happen to us. it's like a light goes on in the head or something, and you just all of a sudden go, oh, now I see where they're coming from. Oh, boy, I really got that wrong. There's this, just feels like it hits you like a bolt of lightning just out of nowhere. And you become aware. You become aware. And that's where the juicy stuff of life is. The juicy, juicy stuff of life isn't even the stuff that we learn in the books. It's that inner something that comes from within, where all of a sudden we know things and we don't even necessarily know how we know it. We may be trying to figure something out. Maybe there's some problem that's been bothering us, or maybe there's some kind of decision that we have to make, or some choice that's in front of us, and we're not really sure what to do. But if we're really thinking about it and really have a good heart about it and want like the best thing to happen and the highest thing to happen, all of a sudden we become quote unquote aware that there may be options that we had or choices that we could do or things that were available to us that we didn't even know before. But we wouldn't have known if we had just gotten stuck on what it is that we thought. So this thing called awareness is one of the most liberating things that you will ever get to. Ever, ever, ever. Here's the kind of funny part about it. That there's this way in which spiritual stuff sometimes seems the opposite. So we would think that normally if I really, really wanted to understand something, I would just keep looking at it and pressing at it and looking at it and pressing at it. But sometimes the best way to understand is just to step back just a little bit. There's a phrase that you can't see the forest for the trees. That was a little hard for me to grasp growing up in LA, but where we don't have forest. But we actually have forest here. So it's a good analogy to use here. So you have this tree, and you're trying to figure out, what does this tree mean for me in my life? Or why is this tree here? And it's like, if this is the tree, we do like this. Like we're looking at this tree. Okay, what is this tree here? Why is this tree here? This tree isn't supposed to be here. Who put this tree here? When is this tree going to get out the way? Are there going to be other trees like this? Oh, I promised myself I was never going to be in front of another tree like this again. What happened? What did I do to make this tree happen? What can I do to make this tree go away? And you know what happens when you are like on the hill and you're looking down and you can see all of the trees and you can see more trees? It's like, oh, this tree is part of something bigger. It's part of a whole forest. There's something going on beyond this one little tree. And that's what happens with our life, that we get so stuck on this thing, this trying to pull it apart and figure it all apart. And part of awareness is not just trying to dig through this one, but stepping back a little bit, seeing the other things that are around, kind of noticing. And then you get what we call insights sometimes. You begin to notice things that you didn't see before. And that's where the richness of life comes. Because as long as we're just doing this, there's no new information coming in. I'm not getting anything by the other things that are all around me. So awareness is this extraordinary thing. It's not like studying. It's not like when we have the books and there's all this information that's just coming at us, and we're trying to absorb. Awareness is beyond that. Awareness is where, if we just open our eyes, we can take in. We can take in, as opposed to trying to cram it in my brain. With awareness, it's more like a sponge that kind of soaks up the water. With the awareness, it's like, there's stuff all around me that I can now take in. And like I said, once you become aware, it usually means you got to do something with that information. Because when you are aware of stuff and you don't do anything, something inside kind of like goes like this. Hey, remember that? Remember that conversation that you had that didn't end so well, and you know that your friend is still hurting? Go apologize. I don't want to apologize. Go apologize. I don't want to apologize. Apologize. And it just keeps getting like louder and louder and louder. It won't leave you alone when you're aware that there's something that you have to do and you don't do it. But the wonderful thing is that once you do, life is so much better. It's so much better. And on that note, I am going to invite some of the young people from our teen ministry. I mentioned earlier that they went away to camp. There is a summer camp that our teens go to in Idlewild, which is in the Southern California area, and we fly them from San Jose into Oxnard, I believe it is. No, not Oxnard, Ontario. I knew it was an O. Into Ontario, and then they bus it into Idlewild. Winter camp is a lot closer. Winter camp actually is in Pescadero Beach. It's a smaller camp, I think about 150 as opposed to 400 or 500 in the summer, but no less powerful. And what I can honestly say, we're 20 years now, we've been sending our kids to these particular camps for all this time, and it never fails. It never fails. All of them always say what a wonderful, wonderful experience it is. And the relationships that are developed are relationships that I have watched go on and on into adulthood. And so many of these youth, after they become adults, come back, and they are part of the advisors, for this particular group. And I cannot say enough. So it's very structured and yet extremely open, so that the youth are constantly involved in activities and in leadership. The advisors that go have to train. So we have about 5 or 6 people who are trained, to do these particular camps. And when you go, they're all split up. So when we send, say, 20, they're not all together. The way that it's set up is that there are different groups, they call them like families, that will be from different youth from different churches and different spiritual communities. So they're spread out, all over the place. And then our advisors don't have our youth, they have other youth. And it really makes for an extraordinary experience, the kind of love and acceptance and appreciation that they get there. And for whatever reason, we tend to have the smallest attendance on Youth Sunday. But folks are missing something. You miss something. I'm always very, very deeply moved. As we start to pray, I just want to put a little this into context. I was raised very fundamentalist Christian, and we grew up with a lot of Bible. And when Jesus was asked, what were the greatest commandments? And people thought that his answer was going to be about a lot of behavioral stuff, or action-oriented things, or thou shalt not. And he made it really simple, and he made the greatest commandments about relationship, about beingness, how we show up in the world. And he said the first commandment was that thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all of your heart, and with all of your soul, and with all of your mind. That means like to stay forever grounded and connected. And to love your neighbor as yourself. To love your neighbor as yourself. And before I do this closing prayer, I just want to make a distinction between what we call the golden rule and this commandment. The golden rule says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's action, that's behavior, and that is a really good thing. To do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But there's a hint in that sentence, and the word is others. Is others. There's a sense of that there's a you and there's a me, and that somehow we're different, but I need to honor the you that's different than me by treating you the way that I would want to be treated. And all that's good. But to love your neighbor as yourself is a little bit different. That means that when you see them, you see you. There's a oneness there. And this love is a place of connectedness in the heart. It says there's really no difference between us. That I'm connected to you, you're connected to me, we're connected to God, God's connected to us. There's just this one big thing that's here. And that if everything in our life starts with that, then everything we do would be different. If that was our fundamental assumption, not an otherness, or not a me here and some God like way, way out there, but that we're one with it all. What a difference that would make. And if I ask you to be aware of anything, be more aware of that. Be more aware than your social media. Be more aware than what's going on in politics. Be more aware of that than what's going on in your house or what's going on in your relationships. But to be aware that you are one with something that created everything in the universe, and you are one with everybody in it. And Jesus said, that's how people will know you are my disciples. They'll know you by your love. And that's part of what I love about this camp that we send people to all the time, is because love is the ultimate healing, transformative power. That's the power of being in community. That's the power of being in community. And I want to invite all of you here to get a little bit of that love. You know, you may belong to other churches, or you may have all kinds of spiritual paths. We honor people here who are from all different, we have everything up in here. You know, we have Buddhists, we have Muslims, we have Jews and Catholics and Wicca and pagan. We got atheists. We have everything up in here. And it's all good. It's all good because we're coming from that place of the oneness. If we do not have your information, if you are not, with us connected, yes, I want to invite you when we leave here to go next door and to make sure that we have your contact information so that you can be a part of this wonderful place, of love. And we do have people who are ready to pray with you immediately after service. And not just if you have a heavy heart, but maybe there's something good going on and you just want somebody to stand in agreement with you for the full unfoldment of that. Doesn't have to be drama to pray or to get some prayer. Or give us the good news. We have prayer cards that are outside there. The blue cards are for prayer requests. The white cards are the good news. Let us know some good stuff that happened too. We pray for those cards for 30 days. And anything that you do here is confidential. These are confidential prayer sessions. Let's turn within in this moment. I'm so grateful. I am so grateful. I am so grateful for this thing called life. The eternality of this thing called life. And that each of us is here as part of an unbroken chain of life since the beginning. Boggles my mind when I think about it. That each and every one of us is here as part of an unbroken chain of humanity since the first human beings. And we are encoded not just with their physical DNA, but the wisdom of the ages. That whatever that is, it's kept people alive. Whatever that is, it's kept people in curiosity. Whatever that is, it's allowed them to be healers way before there were any technologies. Whatever that was, it was allowing people to communicate without the technologies that we know. Whatever that was, I am knowing that it's still with us. And that we are aware. And that we are aware that we are aware. That the same wisdom and intelligence that hung the stars and the moon is the same intelligence and wisdom that is with us. That our bodies are no mystery. That what's going on in our lives is so mystery that just because we don't know doesn't mean it's not known. Because we're not in control doesn't mean it's out of control. So in this moment we say thank you. Thank you for the healing of our body temples. Thank you for the healing of our families, of our finances, anything and everything that's going on with our lives. Thank you for the healing of our nation and the healing of the world, where something is quickened within us to know and to know that we know that we know, and in spite of everything that we see, to know that all is well. I call forth divine right companionship, guidance, direction, divine right residence, divine right financial support, divine right education, divine right doors opening, opportunities, divine right connection. There's a divine right relationship between every two people. This is what I know and I call it forth. I say a special prayer for our young people. That they be lifted up. That they see with their inner eye. That they have the courage to live authentic lives. And that all of the talents and the skills, the wisdom, that everything that they've come here with finds its wings. That no restrictions, no constrictions. That nothing that is ever done or been created can stand in the way of their being the all that they are called to be. I pray for community to be strong and flexible, to do the deep healing work that's necessary for all of us to be purged and to be cleared. Clean up the karma, like cleaning up the air. Clean it up. That we all live simply so that everybody can simply live. Pray the prayer of enoughness. All over the world, there's enough. I know this. And we give thanks. We take everything that we have and we bless it, and in that blessing, we allow it to transform into all needs met. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know it's good. I know it's done. I get out of the way. We get out of the way. We allow it to be, and so it is. So it is, and so it is.